So very good morning to all of you. I'm very happy to welcome you all on the third day of this GYAN program. Uh, Today, this is the sixth lecture. Yesterday, we had a very good, wonderful, tutorial, calm workshop where I'm very happy and pleased that you all interacted very nicely. You studied the material, the paper, good research paper that was supplied by foreign expert Dr. Alex, and he was also very impressed the way you presented, way you analyzed, and everything went on. It was a long session, 2.5 hours. Uh, so today again, I'm going to talk on an important issue: Indian perspective of climate change, economic vulnerability, and displacement. So there are two issues. One is that of the climate change aspect, vulnerability, displacement, and what Indian perspective, what the government of India and what country, our country, is doing to combat the climate change. Right. So. Then after that, uh, we have another lecture by foreign expert, and then after that, uh, I'll demonstrate the data set that will be used for modeling climate change vulnerability. As I told you yesterday, so for that I'll demonstrate here, and then we'll move to the lab post lunch for a long session, maybe 2 hours, 2.5 hours, 3 hours even. And if you enjoy, I'm sure you'll enjoy, so that may go on even longer. And for that, I'll request the participant that those who are having laptop, they and if they do not have the software, GIS software, ask my scholars and volunteers that they will install parallelly in the sitting in room. Something which is not exactly software, but something which may help that. In our lab, we have the software, very good labs, very powerful system, and a software. So we'll do the modeling. I'll demonstrate, and you'll do yourself. We'll provide the data, soft copy of the satellite data, IMD data, and then you'll be modeling that. Right. So the issue is that Indian perspective on climate change. I'll speak on Indian perspective little later, but let us talk about again coming back to the entire issue, our planet Earth, our Mother Earth, which feed us, which provide us the water to sustain life. So there is statement, very important statement. What it says, the Earth is finite. Its ability to provide food is finite. Its ability to provide energy is finite. Its ability to absorb waste and destructive effluent is finite. Huh? So there is common word, and that is finite. Huh? This finite is a very important word in this context, and we do not feel concerned about it. We feel that everything is infinite. We can use the resources as per our own wishes, not the need, as per our own wishes. So it is finite. So this is very important statement. And then what we have, moreover, we are fast approaching many of the Earth's limit. Current economic practices that damage the environment in both developed and developed nations cannot be continued without the risk that vital global system will be damaged beyond repair. And that is a statement that was given by GEG Natural Resource Journal, that was published way back in 2011. But still, that holds thousands and thousands of meaning, very significant meaning. So what it says that the moreover, we are fast approaching on the many of the Earth's limit, limit that is to provide the food, to provide the energy, and even to where to dispose of the waste. That is another big issue in many parts of the country and many parts of developing nation, and even the westward also. Westward is not that much problem. We are fast approaching many of the Earth's limit, and we are moving in a way that the risk that the whole entire this blue planet, what we have, beautiful planet, what we have, is going to be damaged, that the global system will be damaged beyond the repair. I'll give an example how we are damaging our Earth. we do not feel concerned about it. If you get hurt somewhere, get some, get cut on a finger, on a legs by chance somewhere, and if it is small, what do you do? You go to any, dispensary, or you go to chemist shop, you apply Band-Aid, and in a day or two it heal up. But what happens sometime if you get fall down, touch wood, maybe God forbid, किसी के साथ ऐसा ना हो, fall down and leg and hand get fracture, that takes long time to get it repaired, and also if you are old, so it cannot be joined. So similarly, we are interacting, we are using the resources which are there on our system. So the entire, I'm not going to show bigger thing, but the important issue that one need to understand, and the entire objective of this workshop is to understand better, not just to do science and to do better research, but to manage and feel concerned about the nature, environment, and climate change, so that we can get benefited with the ill impact, or we put lesser harm to the planet Earth and all. Now, as I said that we always blame the population for every problem, right? So if you see the population as per United Nations 2011 report, 7 billion population, and that has been painted in one color, but it is not so. Population are different in different countries. So if you see the continent wise, this is the picture. The statistic what it shows, the largest 3.6 billion Asia, then Africa, then Eurasia and America, and so and so. Now this also doesn't give a better picture. What we do here, we go for country wise. So what we see here, the largest population is in but natural India, China, and many of the Southeast Asian countries. So it doesn't mean that the population is uniformly distributed everywhere. And I said yesterday that a ratio figure that gives you the best impression of anything. Let us see the ratio figure. That is the population density, right? So what we find that if we talk about India, in earlier slide it was painted in one color. Now see Indo-Gangetic Plain, southern part of India, coastal India, western, and some other part which is highly densely populated. And you see, if we talk about China, eastern coast of China, eastern part of China. If we come to America, what we have? The coastal part of eastern America, western coast of America, central America, something like that. So where all these population concentration is. And accordingly, we need to provide the resources, we need to do whatever we want to do. Now, let us see the growing global population or shrinking Earth. Everything is connected with the Earth. And what are we talking about climate change? Is linked with the Earth's activity that is being performed at the Earth's surface, at any parts of the world. If any activity is being performed on any particular part of surface or other, that is not being impacted much, but some other part of the Earth is being impacted because of the different reason, air circulation, wind movement, ocean currents, and so and so. Earth's rotation, revolution. There are many more factors that you all know. So what we have? See, the Earth is shrinking. In 1900, the per hectare land per capita was 7.91. In 1950, it reduced to 5.15, 1987, 2.6, and then 2005, close to 2. By 2030, is going to be 1.69. So, Earth is not shrinking. No, Earth is the same. Is the size same? No change. But what we need to understand here, what this glimpse, this gives you a glimpse at the Earth is being shared by larger population. By larger population. That means the resource, some of the most important resource, the most important resource is the water, and then the land. Followed by gold and diamond, what all, what not. If you have get some money in your pocket, if you save some money, what did you? You go and buy a piece of land. You know? पानी तो जिंदगी जीने के लिए, सांस लेने के लिए पानी तो ही है. जमीन खरीदते हैं, मकान खरीदते हैं, फिर उसके बाद बाकी चीजें खरीदते हैं. So land is very precious. You know? So what we have, the land is shrinking in a way that when the population increases, and if we divide with the land surface area, whether arable land or land where you can build any economic activity or houses, that is going down. In a way that, if I give an example, okay, a family has a 4 child, and he is a say 40 acres of land. So what will happen? 10 acres to each member, whether it's a boy, girl, whatever, and then the same boy, if he grown up, get married, again 4 child, then get divided, segmented, 2.5. Then further, if has 2, or even the population is increasing, so the share of land is shrinking, right? And the population, what we say, we always talk about population is a big problem. So different countries had adopted population control, family planning and all. And those countries who have applied, who started family planning, be it Russia, be it China, they are facing a grim consequences of that smaller population, productive population. We are fortunate enough that we have very young productive population in India. So this is one issue, that is a growing global population or shrinking Earth. So these are some issues that I want to put the background before we jump into the climate change issue. Now, if you see, urban India will drive a near fold increase in average national income. We all know that this is the urban areas. Study foreign expert talked about that, and also talked about that it is the urban areas which is the main culprit of changing climate of any part of the world. Less contribution in the changing climate is coming from the rural area, but more is from the urban area. I can share and I can give you some example. Number one, and number two, economic growth, faster economic growth. So economic growth followed by urbanization and urban population increase is one of the main drivers for climate change. Now let us see some statistics, very important statistics that has been given by India's urbanization economic model, McKinsey Global Institute analysis report. What it says from 1990 to 2030, what we have. If we compare with the rural areas, all India and urban area. So what we have, the GDP growth 6.5% and then 7.4%. Population growth 1.8 and it has reduced to 1.1. Now see this one. In 1990, rural India, what was the state of per capita disposable income? Rupees 1,000, real 2008 data. Then it is slowly increasing rural area. Whereas the urban areas, what we have, the per capita disposable income is going at a very faster rate, which was say 5.4 in 2005. It has gone to 6.4. And sorry, this is a compounded growth rate, and income has gone 239 for the urban area. All India is little high. So what we have, with the changing pace of time, population growth has little gone down, whereas the GDP growth has gone little bit up, and projected by 2030 what we have here. Now this global statistics is very interesting. That is the data from IMF, International Monetary Fund, what we have. From 1982, let us see some statistics of economic growth. As I said, the urbanization and economic growth. Economic growth is the most important driver. Economic growth. This is what we have, the nominal GDP of the world. From 1982 to 2018, what we have, the GDP is increasing at a very fast rate. Now if you see the country-wise, China, Euro area, United States of America and Japan, all countries has recorded faster economic growth, GDP, right? That is very good. Everybody is looking to increase their income. हर आदमी चाहता है, एक छोटा कारोबारी है वो भी चाहता है कि आज हमने 1,000 रुपये कमाया, कल 1,500 रुपये कमाया, अगले साल 2,000 कमाए. हम भी एज ए टीचर सोचते हैं कि साहब तनख्वाह जो मिल रही है, 8वां पे कमीशन नहीं आ रहा, रोज हमारी यूनिवर्सिटी में बात करते हैं लोग. सरकार ने कंस्टिट्यूट कर दिया, इट्स गुड न्यूज. सो व्हाट वी हैव कि साहब ये इकोनॉमी, हर आदमी चाहता है कि पैसे खूब आ जाए. पैसे किसी को, लक्ष्मी किसी को खराब नहीं लगता, बट इतना भी नहीं अच्छा लगना चाहिए कि उसका नुकसान हो. दैट इज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट, राइट? सो आई पर्सनली बिलीव, तो आई हैव एक्सक्लूडेड सम ऑफ द स्ट्रेटजी जिसमें हम आपको देखते हैं कि क्या है इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ. इंडिया का भी हमने रखा था, बट आई बिकॉज वी हैव लेसर टाइम, सो आई स्केप दैट. सो दिस इज स्टेट ऑफ अफेयर ऑफ इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ, वर्ल्ड जीडीपी, एंड सेम इज ट्रू विद इंडिया. इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ हमने कल बात किया था. इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ is going up. Economic condition of the country is very good. Government has made good policies, and from the last quarter to this quarter, the economic growth has increased, to about 0.5, 0.6%, right? So what we have, when the economic growth will take place, what will happen? It's but natural. This is a very interesting slide. This is a very interesting slide, and I'll spend some time on this. What we have. If you see if we compare the population and material, what we have in 1970 and 2010, this is a non-metallic minerals, right? This is a metal ores, this is a fossil fuel and biomass. If you start from non-metallic minerals, it was billion tons, little close to 1 billion, right, tons. By 2010, what has happened? It is 5 billion tons in only say 40 years of time. And if we take the data of 2025, it will be much more, right? So what we have, since 1970, population increased 5 times, right? And if you see this one future scenario, even current dynamics and material demand will grow 5 times by 2020. Now, if you see this one, this bar, what we have, this is the same thing. Scenario, slow down development process. Scenario, continuing current dynamics, the second one, and scenario, fast catching up. So when you try to fast catch up with the other countries, this will go up much faster, material consumption. And what happens, a very fundamental issue is that the moment you get money in your pocket, तो फिर आपको you feel to buy something. It's but natural. जब जेब में पैसे नहीं होंगे तो आप you do not go to market and do not spend. You do not buy goods and services. Material की डिमांड कम होगी, कंजम्पशन कम होगा और डिमांड कम होगी. मटेरियल कहां से आते हैं? इट कम्स फ्रॉम मदर अर्थ. दिस इज व्हाट आई सेड. पहले 2 वक्त खाते थे लोग, सुबह और शाम को. इफ यू टॉक अबाउट द रूरल एरियाज, इंडियन, मोस्ट ऑफ इंडियन पार्ट. अब क्या है कि सुबह एक बार नाश्ता, फिर दोपहर में लंच, शाम को एक बीच में स्नैक्स, है ना, फिर रात को लंच, डिनर के पहले फिर कहीं बैठ जाते हैं, कॉफी पीते हैं, पिज्जा खाते हैं, बर्गर खाते हैं. वी कीप ऑन ईटिंग, एंड दैट विल ओनली हैपन व्हेन यू हैव मनी इन योर पॉकेट. पैसे नहीं है तो फिर आप जो है मन मार के अपना घर चले जाओगे. घर के लिए कुछ लेना भी जाओगे तो नहीं ले पाओगे. लेकिन जब पैसे होंगे तो क्रूड वर्ड, बेयर विद मी, हाथ में खुजली होती है? बच्चों को कहोगे चलो कुछ दिला दें, वाइफ को कहेंगे लोग चलो तुम्हें कुछ दिला दें, है ना? होता नहीं होता है? तो आई एम नॉट सेइंग दैट इज बैड, बट यू स्पेंड मनी एक बैलेंस वे में. आप चीजों को खरीदो, कंज्यूम करो एक बैलेंस वे में. एक कोई चीज आपने घर में रखा, कोई अप्लायंसेस, वो सब कुछ ठीक है, उसके बाद भी आप कहोगे इससे बड़ा ले आओ, इससे अच्छा ले आओ. यू हैव अ टेलीविजन ऑफ अ स्मॉलर साइज, आप कहोगे 32 इंच ले आओ. 32 इंच था, आप कहोगे 64 इंच ले आओ. एंड देयर इज बिग प्रॉब्लम ऑफ सॉलिड वेस्ट, ई-वेस्ट, दैट इज कमिंग अप. That is again an important issue when you are talking about climate change and environmental pollution and degradation. आपने कहीं dispose off कर दिया, वो dispose off भी ठीक से नहीं हो रहा है. So these are the issues. So what I am trying to show you is that कि साहब देखिए 2016 का डेटा है, UNEP का है. The material consumption, non-metallic minerals is going up very fast. When I talk about non-metallic minerals, the iron ore, aluminium, many more. वो कहाँ आ रहे हैं? कंस्ट्रक्शन में आ रहे हैं, बाकी चीजों में आ रहे हैं, you know. So what we have, the material consumption is going up. Fossil fuels. See this one, very thin line here, but by 2010 it is widened. Fossil fuel, burning of fossil fuel, that is one of the main culprit. I'll show you some slides on that. Alex has already showed you कि आपने कार खरीद ली, स्कूटर था, अब कार खरीद ली. स्कूटर में आपको 5 लीटर बर्न करते थे अ मंथ, अब जो है कार में 15-20 लीटर आप बर्न करते हैं. वेयर इट इज गोइंग? फैन से अब कंफर्ट नहीं आ रहा है. यू हैव बॉट एयर कंडीशनर, नॉट जस्ट इन वन हाउस, इन वन रूम इन अ हाउस, बट यू हैव प्लेस इन ऑल रूम्स. यू नो, पहले पंखे में नहीं होते, बहुत अच्छी नींद आती थी, अब एसी भी नहीं आती लोगों को. You know, so these are mental comfort. And if you link with the nature, link with the climate, then you realize कि what I am doing, how I am interacting with the resources. तो resource का जो हम बात कर रहे हैं यहाँ पे कि India's material consumption growing, you know, sharply, कि resource consume करो, but in a proper way, justified way. And this is what I said yesterday कि अगर जो हम एक आदमी, हर आदमी अपने को थोड़ा सा सोच के right left देख के चले तो everything will be perfectly fine, you know. So this is a very important issue. So what we have, okay, material consumption has gone at a very faster rate. Now, say this one. This is an internet picture. I put it. I do not know exactly the source, but if you Google, you'll find many more. What it shows? Systematic problems. On a left picture, what it shows? Production system, and right side shows consumption pattern. That speaks a lot, these two pictures, to me. And if you think and concentrate and understand, see what we have, systematic problem. पहले फैक्ट्री थी, सीजनल चलती थी, सुबह से शाम तक चलती थी, शाम को बंद हो जाती है, अब 24 घंटा. You need more and more energy. Take this classroom, forget everything. When we were a student in our hometown, in room there were one tube light and one fan or two fan. Now see, in our room, so many lights. Although these are the good light LED, they consume less energy. Centrally air conditioned. You know, from where it will come? It will obviously come from either thermal, hydroelectric, nuclear, whatever. So to produce something, you need some material. You know. So this is a production system and then consumption pattern. This is somewhere in America or Europe where big shopping malls are there, but buyers are less, you know, because they have lesser population. If you go Indian scenario, you'll find many more in narrow lanes of the shopping mall. So this is, to me, that this is also a problem, huge emission of various gases and many more things, and right size to produce goods and services that we need. हमारे बच्चे, हम सब लोग, you know, छोटे छोटे रैपर्स में जो चीज़ें प्रोड्यूस होकर आती हैं, गुड्स एंड सर्विस, उसको कंज्यूम करते हैं, उसको यूज करते हैं, and that becomes a, वो गलत नहीं है. पहले क्या था, solid waste is another environmental problem and issues. पहले क्या था, if you remember, कि हम एक बैग लेके जाते थे घर से to buy some goods and services, सब्जी खरीद के ले आते थे. अब क्या है, जेब में हाथ डाल के जाते हैं और जितने सामान उतने पॉलीथीन. It's a very serious threat. सरकार इज डूइंग अ लॉट कि साहब इसको मत यूज करो, सिंगल प्लास्टिक यूज, प्लास्टिक बैन वगैरह, बहुत सारे लॉ किया, लेकिन हम मानते नहीं. ना दुकानदार मानता है ना हम मानते हैं. दैट इज अ बिग प्रॉब्लम, इजंट इट? तो हम लोग एक थैला लेके जाते हैं, उसमें गोभी भी है, आलू भी है, टमाटर भी है, टमाटर टूट भी जाते थे बहुत सारे, उसमें धनिया भी है, हरी मिर्च भी है. घर लाने के बाद उसको सेपरेट किया जाता था, इजंट इट? वी डोंट डू दैट. So these are some of the basic fundamental question and the issue that one need to understand. Now, say this one. This is again the systematic issue, systematic problem. What we have? So many cars has been parked. It's not in India, I'm sure. Somewhere in westward, developed nation, सलीके से पार्क किया गया है. हिंदुस्तान में पार्क कर दो तो कोई निकल नहीं पाएगा. Isn't it? Must be a corporate word. पीछे देखिए टावर बिल्डिंग है. So all these cars have been parked. So what will happen? Again, I'll say economics, what I showed you, the economic growth. कि the moment you get money in your pocket, आप कहोगे भाई स्कूटर में मजा नहीं आ रहा है, कार खरीदो. अच्छी बात है. That is a good indicator of development. कार per thousand of population, 4-wheeler per thousand population. उसमें कोई बुराई नहीं है. पार्किंग नहीं है, आप कार खरीद लोगे एंड देन सरकार ने बहुत अच्छा किया कि भाई इफ यू हैव अ पार्किंग देन यू कैन बाई अ कार, अदरवाइज यू कैन नॉट. लेकिन फिर भी हम खरीद लेते हैं वन वे और अदर. So what we have, the more money you come in your pocket, you will go and buy a car, and it's very easy to afford a car. If you have a 50,000 rupees in your pocket, you can buy a car of 5 lakhs rupees. Different globalization and liberalization that has come. The banks has come, n number of banks have come. Every day you get a call, कि साहब loan ले लो, plot ले लो, isn't it? And you buy a car. So what will happen? यहाँ तक भी कोई problem नहीं कार खरीदना. What will happen? Per capita energy consumption will go up. Per capita energy consumption will go up. As per World Bank report, 2012, 1960 and 2010, the per capita energy consumption of India was very less, slightly increased. This y-axis, the value is very high. If you expand it, so you'll find in India the per capita energy consumption has also gone up. But if you see the per capita energy consumption of France, Germany, Norway, Canada, United States of America, it was very high even in 1960. That was 2,000. Here you have 4,000, here 6,000, and it has gone little more. And that is the narration what he used to study, in a class, or what had been taught and we teach. कि rich nations are the more emitter, a polluter than the poor nation. Poor के पास उतना है ही नहीं. But in India also, जो हम ये देख रहे हैं, अब लोगों के पास कार आने लगी हैं और emission होने लगा. If I tell my example, when I came Delhi in 2000, I had a scooter. I used to purchase 3-4 liters for a month. Now after a certain period of time, I got a loan and bought a car. It started, consuming 25 liters of petrol, now 35 liters of petrol. So obviously the emission will go to the atmosphere and that will create a problem, right? Now see this one, total energy in petajoules for 2022-23. This is the latest figure. As per the report that has been published in Environmental Statistics 2024, Environment and Account 7th issue. What we have? Petajoule is equal to 1 million billion joules. 1 million billion joules, that is 1,115 joules or 278 gigawatt hour. So in 2015 and 16, it was 84,000 something. And by 2023, it has gone to how much? 1,02,073. This is the latest figure. Now if we say this one, in which sector how much energy is being used? 2023 data, household 5%, other industries 31% maximum, electricity, gas, steam, air conditioning supply 28%. So this was quite less. Manufacturing earlier manufacturing 28%. So this is the state of affairs from where all this energy is being used and how much. That is another issue. What will happen? The emission of CO2, as per IPCC's 6th assessment report 2022, what we have. In 1990 to 2018, Middle East, Africa, Eastern Europe and West Central America, Latin America, Asia and developing Pacific nation and developed countries. See, as I said before, if you see the earlier slide, what we have here. In 1960, the consumption of energy per capita was very high, 2,000, 4,000, more than 2,000. The same is here. The same is here. What is here? Production, total CO2 emission for 116 countries based on production and consumption emission. See, CO2 emission, gigatons CO2 per year, ton. And other countries was quite less. See, Africa and West Central Asia and including India, the net import and export. If we do not have the energy, we import. You know, if you do not have water, we import. Earlier, it was a natural cycle. We got today a lot of rain, very heavy rain in Delhi, and therefore some of the participants, those who are from Delhi NCR, they stuck up in on the way. They are joining slowly coming. So what we have, you use the water, consume the water, and the same amount of water get recharged by the rain. But what we see today, the rainwater is being drained out and going to the drains, and that is going to the rivers. That is, there's no option of recharging because of concentration of the urban areas in the smaller cities. So consumption is not an issue. The way you consume, the same way you have to supplement, you to add. In a way that if you have in a bank account 5 lakhs of rupees, you keep on withdrawing and withdrawing, a day will come, it will be exhausted. But what happens? You withdraw and then you get a salary or you add something, then the balance will be there. So naturally state of environment will be maintained. So this is the state of affair. Now see, major economics with their total and per capita emission of CO2. Lakh ton of CO2 equivalent. Y-axis you see, Canada, Russia, USA, Japan, Italy and India. Say this one. And total CO2 equivalent. You know? So as per Economic Survey 2023 and 24, that is state of affair. Right? This is the greenhouse gas emission. This is greenhouse gas emission per capita. This is the emission. You see, China, we all know that in the entire world, what all we see, the goods and services, mainly goods, they capture the entire world. Their production system is very strong. If you go to any European country, developed nation, if you pick up any product, that will be made by China. Even in India. Right? Low cost and good quality. So what will happen? Greenhouse gas emission is quite high. See the big bar. India is also quite high. India and then USA. And then obviously what will happen? The greenhouse gas emission will be more. Now see the greenhouse gas emission across supply chain for various food products. From where all these greenhouse gases are coming out? The food products. Beef, dark chocolate, lamb mutton, beef dairy herd, cheese, So these are on the top, right? Dark chocolate. Everybody is fond of chocolate. Not chocolate, but dark chocolate. That is most fascinating. I don't have a slide when I give a lecture on water resources. I tell how much water is being used to produce 1 kg of meat, 1 cup of coffee. If I give an example, to produce 1 cup of coffee, you need 150 liters of water, roughly. And to produce 1 cup of tea, need 40 to 50 liters of water. And to produce 1 kg of meat, you need 8,000 liters of water. Now again economics come into picture. जेब में पैसे आएंगे तो चाय अच्छी नहीं लगेगी. कहोगे कैफे कॉफी बेचो, क्या फाइन कॉफी होती है. So that large amount of water is needed. You'll be wondering कि इतना पानी काहे के लिए? Right from seeding to growth and processing and up to the putting that product, the tea or coffee, to the market. The large amount of water is needed. So it's good to use coffee, drink coffee, but पानी तो हम withdraw कर लिए, फिर पानी recharge नहीं हो रहा. That is the issue. That is a big issue. That one need to understand. Rather than talking big thing for the climate change and other issues, right? So what we have, आप देखिए इसमें cheese, coffee सब में quite high and greenhouse gas emission per kilogram of food product. 1 किलोग्राम पे food product में बनाने पे कितना हमें use होता है? से यहाँ पे देखिए 120 as per this data, 180 and so. So that is another big issue that one need to think on. Now, low carbon economies and the total per capita emission. Low economy जिन countries की है उनका देखिए, Green Future Index and annual greenhouse gas emission per capita tons of CO2 equivalent per year. So what we have: Ireland, Finland, UK, USA and India. Other high GDP countries are Italy, USA, China, Japan, India, and Russia. And these are the top low carbon emission per Green Future Index 2023. So these are some of the statistics that has been recently published in the Green Future Index 2023 MIT Technology Review. So these are some of the data one need to see where we are heading to, how our economic growth, how our urbanization, how the consumption pattern is taking place. No, as I said yesterday, once we have more money in pocket and once we are getting richer and richer, we want to build a house and we want to buy a house in somewhere else also. We do not want to live in just single house. You have another house. And if I see in my university and in Delhi, my other institutes and other universities in Delhi, the people do own a house in Delhi NCR and also in the hilly areas. So what will happen? See this one. Primary forest lost. There is another big issue. From 2002 to 2024, India lost 348 thousand hectares of humid primary forest, making 15% of total tree loss in same time period. The total area humid primary forest in India is decreased by 5.4% during this time. Now see this one. Area of tree cover loss within 2001 primary forest, percent of 2000 primary forest loss. Say this one, 2001 to 2024. This is a forest loss. No? In 2020, India had 44.4 million hectares of national forest, extending 15% of its land area. By 2024, it lost 150,000 hectares of natural forest, equivalent to 68 million tons of CO2 emission. Had it not been the loss, this much of forest, it could have absorbed, it could have consumed 68 million tons of CO2 emission, thereby, protecting your nature and environment from the global warming and climate change. So we are least concerned about it. पेड़ काट दो देखा जाएगा, चाहे right or wrong. And government of India has made very strict policies. Cannot cut a tree. High Court comes into picture, Supreme Court comes into picture, and they give strict, judgment that you should preserve the forest. So, for the want of more economic growth for economic activities, what we do, we keep on cutting, we keep on doing whatever we want. So, what will happen? The moment we have the more and more, forest resources cutting, and what will happen? Obviously, that will lead to increasing, global temperature. That has been showed. I think this report as per Barclay report 2023, March 2023. See the temperature from 1860 to 2020. Very long term data. And to see the climate change, you need to have a longer period of data, whether temperature or rainfall. And this is for 160 years of data, right? So what we see, if we plot the average temperature is going up. And what pace, at what rate, it is before you. That is already been discussed. I'll not go much on that. Now, you see this one, charting 15 years of heat. This is for the entire India. And this is a recent report that has been published by wriindia.org on that. What we have, 92% are exposed to more than 6 hours of heat stress. And if you go on that site and you put that rate, you will get for different date. And also they flush. Okay, 5th April, 10th April, 15th April. So I chose just one because of time and all. So what we see, the people living here, see here at this Karnataka and Maharashtra, they are exposed to 18 hours of heat, 12 hours, 13 hours. This is hours exposed to strong and above heat stress. If you go to Delhi and many other parts, this area, we have on an average 92%. Imagine 92% people are exposed to heat. Yesterday, Alex made a remark in his presentation that people are not so much exposed to heat. Elderly people, those who are living in the Europe, America, Canada, and UK, they get exposed to it and they die. हमारे यहाँ we are vulnerable too, but we have adopted. Adaptive capacity of heat or extremes of pollution is in our blood. We are adopted too. That is not good. So what we have in 2024, India experiences unprecedented heat wave with several cities recording temperature above 45. You know, my cousin live in Kuwait, and he sent a screenshot. Okay, last week they experienced temperature of 56 degrees centigrade. Gulf countries experience high temperature, doesn't matter, but not much higher, 50, 52. But this year they have experienced 56 degrees centigrade. And many of the world leaders, they are talking about that there is no climate change and nothing is going to be worried. Yes, true. We all know as a geography student and that Earth is full of cycle, heating and cooling. But this period, what we are, is a period of heating. There are different reasons for that, you all know. So what we have, about 90% I have already explained. The 2024 was the warmest year on record on the Earth's surface. And the first year with the global average temperature exceeding 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial level, signal pressing need for cooling solution, heat responses, adaptation and mitigation measures. And one need to understand, one need to think of it. That is real, that could be the real solution, otherwise we keep going. Now, it is but natural. जब गर्मी होगी हम बाहर निकलते हैं गर्मी में 40 डिग्री टेम्परेचर पसीना निकलेगा पानी निकलेगा निकलता है नहीं किसी एज का हो कोई भी हो द सेम इज ट्रू फॉर द अर्थ जब टेम्परेचर बढ़ेगा तो जो स्नो आइस हैं वो मेल्ट होंगे I'll not show much slides, but I need to let you understand. I want to sensitize the young generation. I always tell my students, ki, think of it. Do not look right and left. Ki wo kya kar raha hai, ye kya kar raha hai. Think yourself what you're doing, how you're interacting. So what will happen? See this one. National Snow and Ice Data Center, NASA guy, in 1994, 6.7 million square kilometers of snow and ice was covered at Arctic Sea. And by 2012, what has happened? 3.41. And see the white patches. White patches has reduced. So this one, this is fresh, snow and ice. And not only the area, another very important issue is the thickness of the snow and ice. How thick is it? And if you concentrate on this circle, what I put it, very bright white patches. That is reduced here. The thickness has also gone. The extent is going down, and areas receding and thickness is also going down. And I always feel and believe, and I tell my scholars and students that water, this is the snow ice cover is a freshwater reserve. That is a reserve. Reserve in a sense, again I'll give example, कि वैसी रिजर्व है जैसे हम पैसे को फिक्स डिपॉजिट कर देते हैं करते हैं ना जब पैसा एक्सेस आता है तो कहते हैं कि इसको फिक्स कर दो इसमें इंटरेस्ट ज्यादा मिलेगा अगेन इकोनॉमिक्स कमिटी पिक्चर है उसको तोड़ नहीं सकते हैं बहुत मजबूरी में है ना एफडी वगैरह कोई उसको कैच कराता है जिसको कॉमन वर्ड में तोड़ना कहते हैं तो ये स्नो आइस ऐसी है फिक्स डिपॉजिट कर रहा है इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग एंड इफ यू एग्री विद मी और जैसे ही वो बैंक से निकाल के आप जो है उसमें लाते हो जेब में तो दैट बिकम्स लिक्विडिटी कब खर्चा होगा आप कहते हो ना 1000 रुपए जेब में था कब खर्चा होगा कैसे खर्चा होगा पता ही नहीं द सेम इज ट्रू विद दिस in terms of climate change. I'm talking in terms of climate change. I'm not telling you the story. I'm linking the day-to-day issues that is. तो जैसे ये टेम्परेचर बढ़ा तो क्या होगा ये मेल्ट होके अब मेल्ट होके कहाँ जा रहा है इट गोज टू द रिवर्स एंड रिवर्स गोज दिस फ्रेश वाटर गोज टू द रिवर एंड रिवर गोज एंड मीट द सलाइन सी वाटर ऑफ नो यूज उसको कैसे हम प्रोटेक्ट करें डैम बनाएं कहाँ रोके दैट्स द बिग इशू So what has happened? तो ये जो चीजें हमारी आपकी हुई why because of the climate change. Although there is thawing also, freezing and thawing going on, but this is happening. What we have? आप देखिए 2024 का इंतजार बैठे हुए हैं आयास की भाई तो बहुत पुराना डेटा हो गया कुछ महीने पहले हमने कहा कुछ निकालते हैं तो we explore and we got 2024 data. हैं 2024 में देखा 2012 तक फिर भी ठीक था आप देखिए 2024 में 4.7 मिलियन एरिया इज has extended, but thickness देखिए आपका, white patches is gone. That is state of aware, right? See, ये हमारा Arctic का था. Now let us see Antarctic snow and ice cover. In 1981, this was state of affair. In July 2024, see this snow ice cover. This is 100%. This is 0%. This is 0%. You see. So we can see compare in the last say 40-45 years what has happened. You see this one, white patches, bright patches, white patches, extend, and this one. Same is true with this. जो हम यहाँ पे देख रहे थे. This is a melted water, and this is a fresh water deposited in snow ice cover. Now, this is a site you can go on this, and you can choose the month, year, and day, and can have what is state of a long historical data you have. The website I have put it, National Snow and Ice Data Center, of NSIDC. The link is on that, nsidc.org.c-ice. Now, another issue. कहते हैं ना, picture do not lie. लेकिन आज की डेट में AI के ज़माने में picture also lies. है ना? And pictures gives you more stronger understanding than the text and than the figures. है? हम फिल्म देख के आते हैं, सालों साल याद रहता है. आता है ना, चाहे शाहरुख खान की फिल्म हो या अमिताभ की हो या दिलीप कुमार की हो, सारे सीन, सारे डायलॉग याद रहते हैं. अगर उसको नॉवेल में पढ़ ले तो शायद कुछ दिनों बाद वॉश आउट हो जाता है. So in this way I have put it. See, Aral Lake, जो एशिया वर्ल्ड की 4th largest, one of the largest. What is state of affair? 1977. कल I showed yesterday in my lecture the power of remote sensing GIS. In understanding the nature Earth, understanding the Earth surface. और उसका फिर आप, this is nothing but a Landsat data, screenshot of raw satellite data जो लोग यूज करते हैं. I'm sure that बहुत सारे बच्चे यूज करते हैं इसका. Landsat data 77 में this was the अराल लेक का शक्ल ये थी. ये फ्रेश वाटर है, ब्लैक पैचेस फ्रेश वाटर है, ये वाटर नहीं है. एंड इन 1989 ये एक्सपोज उसका बेड लेक का, ये लैंड दिखने लगा. और 2006 में आने के बाद ये वाटर श्रिंक कर गया. दीज आर सेडिमेंट दैट हैज बीन डिपॉजिटेड एंड दीज आर फ्रेश वाटर. और उसके बाद फिर देखिए क्या हुआ, उसके आगे फिर इसको भी निकाला गया. 2014 में आने के बाद क्या हुआ, 2024 में. राइट, where we are heading to with the withdrawal of water, with the use of water, or for our own gain. So the state of affair what we see from 1977 to 2024, that one need to understand. How to check the grim consequences of the increasing temperature, declining fresh water, or whatever. I wanted to put one slide, but I forget. In the morning, I came early to go to department. In the university campus, there are 6-8 inches water logging, so I could not go. Otherwise, we did one project of Hyderabad. In Hyderabad, there was more than 400 small water bodies, and that is all gone. Because of two reasons: erratic rainfall, and second is developmental activities. जो आपके पॉन्ड से, उसको आप गांव में भी देखे होंगे, जो पॉन्ड से तालाब हैं उसको फिल इन करके धीरे धीरे इंकोच करके उस पर इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटीज, हाउसिंग वगैरह सब बन जाता है और उससे चली जाती है. तो दैट इज अनदर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट स्टडी. आई मिस्ड इट टू पुट बिफोर यू. फॉरेस्ट का लास्ट जो हमने पहले दिखाया था उसी का स्लाइड यहाँ आ गया. व्हाट डू यू हैव? 2001 से 2024 India lost 2.3 million hectares of forest trees cover. We have already showed. This is again the forest cover loss that is connected with the earlier slide what I showed. Wildfire, logging, other natural disturbance की वजह से जो forest is getting cut, that is being reduced. That is a picture. Now say this one. This is a ground reality. The forest cut जो हो रहे हैं, these were in earlier time This is little bit valley part. This is Western Ghat, Kunur town. 41% decline in evergreen forest and 60% fragmentation of continuous forest between 1973 to 2018. And the same state. ये internet picture इसमें data नहीं है, but it speaks volume. If you go to any hilly areas, in नॉर्थ ईस्ट सिक्किम चले जाओ, गैंगटॉक चले जाओ, कहीं चले जाओ, कश्मीर की तरफ चले जाइए, लेह लद्दाख चले जाइए, उधर कम है. बट व्हाट वी हैव, द वेस्टर्न घाट इज वन ऑफ द richest biodiversity region of the country, and that is being cut away. If you move from Bombay to Pune, Pune to Bombay, and that industrial corridor is being destroyed. It is being destroyed. So what we have, this is a picture that is imaged by Wikipedia commoners, that I have given. So this is state of affair, and this is what I said कि जब हमारे पास पैसे होते हैं तो हम सोचते हैं कि गर्मी की छुट्टियों में, समर वेकेशन में बीवी बच्चों को लेके जाएंगे, नैनीताल मसूरी में जाकर रहेंगे. पूना वाले लोग जाते हैं, बॉम्बे वाले जाते हैं, जाके इन एरियाज पे दे सेटल फॉर अ मंथ और 2. कोई बुराई नहीं, बट वी नीड टू थिंक ऑन दैट. नाउ द अनदर स्टेट ऑफ मसूरी, यहाँ मसूरी नैनीताल बहुत जाते हैं दिल्ली एनसीआर के लोग. से दिस वन, द स्लोप्स विच इज वेरी फ्रेजाइल. ये जितने फ्रेजाइल स्लोप है उस पर आप देखिए कंस्ट्रक्शन गोइंग ऑन. आप देखिए दे हैव गॉन टू द पीक, एंड द फॉरेस्ट कट एंड द फॉरेस्ट डिक्लाइन, एवरग्रीन और रिजर्व प्रोटेक्टेड, इवन प्रोटेक्टेड फॉरेस्ट भी बहुत सारी चीज कहीं कहीं चीजें इनक्रोच कर रहे हैं. तो इसको कट करके एंड देन दे आर मेकिंग देयर ओन settlement and houses. This is again image by Pinkani on this website that is on the net that you can see here. Now, major water related events. That is one aspect of it. Declining forest cover, green cover. Before that, I showed you some data on temperature change, precipitation and all. And then I showed you deforestation. Now, the major water related events in 2024. Very latest data what we have. Climate change significantly disturbed the global water cycle. On the very first day, Alex showed some water cycles, what they have done at the Columbia Climate Institute. So in that context, I put one slide, resulting in devastating water related disaster that caused 8,700 deaths, displaced 40 million people across the world. It led to economic losses exceeding 550 billion worldwide. Imagine, 550 billion worldwide, as per Global Water Monitor Report 2024. Right? Where all it has happened? You can take Brazil, major flood hit Rio Grande Sul, Amazon Basin. Then we have the USA hurricane, and Milton causes floods. Spain downpour. Central Europe, storm Boris caused flooding. Afghanistan, then India, monsoon landslide, devastated Wayanad. Very recently, you all remember, Bangladesh, millions of flood affect millions of people. China, Yanzi, South Sudan, many more places. So if you go and see where all it is impacting, if you go on this own2earth.org, it's a very important website. Own to earth, Mother Earth. हम बार बार कहते हैं मदर अर्थ, बट ओन टू अर्थ, वी ओन. ऐसा नहीं कि हम जिस जमीन पे मेरा घर नहीं है हम उसको ओन नहीं करते. आई ओन मदर अर्थ एंड मदर ओन वी. There was a very famous scholar, philosopher, Alan Campbell Churchill, and the very famous quote what she made: "Man is a product of earth, dust to dust." Isn't it? But we don't feel that. We do not feel that. हम अपने को अपना किसको मानते हैं? अपने बेटे बेटी को, बेबी हस्बैंड को मानेंगे, हस्बैंड बेबी को, वही अपने हैं, बाकी कोई अपने नहीं. But which is not so. We belong to a system, biodiversity system, where all should live in harmony. हम हार्मनी में रहना नहीं चाहते हैं. And I go back to our own slide, earlier slide, कि हम जिस हिसाब से चाहें, जिस वे में चाहें, जिस रेट पे जाएं, we consume, produce, release effluents and what not, चाहे solid हो, liquid है, ये गैसियस है, सारी चीजें हम जो है उसको रिलीज करते रहेंगे और उसको हम उसको बहाते रहेंगे. सी, राइज इन हिमालयन लैंडस्लाइड. See this one. This is gone. Earlier it was lush green like this, but this is gone. Another part of the landslide is gone. Earlier it was lush green. That is a natural phenomena. Earthquake, landslide, debris flow, it keeps on going since the ages. That is nothing new. It's a natural process. There is a big but. What is that big but? With the increasing, economic activities, with changing nature of precipitation, temperature, all these are becoming very vulnerable. हम ही vulnerable नहीं हो रहे हैं, जमीन भी vulnerable होगी, पेड़ पौधे भी होंगे, जीव जंतु भी vulnerable होंगे, और उससे क्या होगा? लैंडस्लाइड है, उससे इम्पैक्ट होंगे लोगों को, सारी चीजें होगा. अदरवाइज रेट ऑफ लैंडस्लाइड, रेट ऑफ डिवास्टेशन कम होगा. And because of that, n number of problem what we are experiencing today is the resultant impact. आप कहते हैं ना कि वेस्टर्न डिस्टर्बेंस की वजह से बारिश यहाँ हो रही है, डिस्टर्बेंस वहां है, अफेक्ट यहाँ हो रहा है नहीं. एंड आईपीसीसी रिपोर्ट, फिफ्थ असेसमेंट रिपोर्ट कहता है कि ग्लोबल एवरेज टेम्परेचर has increased to 0.94 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड. Isn't it? तो आई कैन से दैट 0.94 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड डजंट मैटर. 1 डिग्री क्या फर्क पड़ता है? अभी 40 है, 41 हो जाए, 10 डिग्री 9 हो जाए, 4 है 5 हो जाए, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. बट अगेन देयर इज अ बिग बट. व्हाट इज दैट बट? कि 1 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड ग्लोबल एवरेज, अर्थ इज सो ह्यूज, उसका एवरेज निकालो फिर देखो, तो कहीं 10 डिग्री बढ़ा होगा, कहीं 5 डिग्री बढ़ा होगा, कहीं 5 डिग्री कम भी हुआ होगा. एंड एवरेज, दिस इज एवरेज फिगर, अगेन रेशियो फिगर, and that speaks volume. Isn't it? You want to say something? Okay. So average figure 0.94 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड. और हमने इसके पहले दिखाया कि प्रोजेक्टेड, और एलेक्स भी दिखा रहे थे बहुत सारे स्लाइड्स में, and that was important findings that has been done by top researchers to make you aware, to make the policy, make us aware, कि act and react in a way that it should not go more and more. And this is one issue. And the second important issue, what I always say, that it is nothing to be the, not much, do not get concerned much on the high temperature and all. This is erratic. That is more serious issue. The climate change is exactly erratic, and we do not know when it will happen. All the seasons have shifted. All seasons have shifted. जब बारिश होनी है नहीं होती है, जब होनी है, जब नहीं होनी तो होगी, या जब होनी होगी तो नहीं होगी. And this is a very pathetic situation. हमारे लिए कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. We are not dependent on the rain. But if you see, you talk about the farmers of any country, इंडिया हो, अफ्रीका हो, यूरोप के कोई, उनके लिए बहुत मायने रखता है. फार्मर बाहर निकलता है, आसमान को देखता है ना. And if I give one real example, जब हम लोग छोटे थे, पढ़ते थे, तो आप लोगों का, हम लोगों का एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट फेस्टिवल खिचड़ी कहलाता है. ईस्टर्न उत्तर प्रदेश, बलिया, आई बिलोंग टू बलिया, बहुत सारे पार्ट में खिचड़ी. जनवरी 1 से लेके 14 जनवरी तक सूर्य देवता नहीं दिखेंगे, और 15 तारीख को फिर वो दिख जाएंगे, है ना. एंड दैट वाज कोल्डेस्ट सीजन. अब वो खत्म हो गया. अब मुझे तो नहीं दिखता है कि साहब 1 जनवरी से 14 जनवरी दैट वाज सेम. वी हैव द मंथ सावन भादो, सारी चीजें जो, अब जिस वक्त सावन भादो में बहुत बारिश नहीं हो रही है, और जब होनी चाहिए नहीं हो रही है, जब नहीं होनी चाहिए हो रही है. So that is impacting the largest section of farmers, and that is impacting the economy. तो ये जो चीजें जो हुई है, that is exactly climate change. Climate change is not that कि टेम्परेचर बढ़ गया और ये मेल्ट हो गया, बट नेचर ने बनाया है. क्या बनाया है? कि किस सीजन में कौन सा फ्रूट हमें देना, भगवान अल्लाह ने बनाया है. समर सीजन यू गेट लॉट ऑफ वाटरी फ्रूट्स, तरबूज है, खरबूज है, नाशपाती है ना, बनाया ना. इसलिए कि जब आप जो है स्वेटिंग होती है, वाटर लॉस होता है, हम पानी होता पीते नहीं है, तो वो बनाया कि उसको आप यूज करो, एंड देन ये बैलेंस. अब वो चीजें हम सारे सीजन में सारे फल मिल जाते हैं, जो अच्छा नहीं है. सेब सुबह खाओ तो बहुत अच्छा है, रात को खाओ तो नहीं नुकसान है. यस प्लीज. नेम ऑफ, ओ दैट इज कल, इसको क्या कहते हैं, खिचड़ी. मकर संक्रांति. हाँ, मकर संक्रांति कॉमन वर्ड शॉर्ट में खिचड़ी कहा जाता है. तो वो अब खत्म हो गया, वो अब खत्म हो गया नहीं. लास्ट ईयर इफ रिमेंबर, ठंड शुरू हुई, इट वाज इन सम टाइम इन जनवरी एंड सो दिसंबर में ठंड ही नहीं हो रही है. सो ये जो नेचर बना है किस सीजन में कब बारिश चाहिए, कब कौन सा फसल होगा, दैट इज बीइंग इम्पैक्टेड. यस प्लीज. Yes. So the transition phase is also shrinking somewhere. Yes. So it's a diminishing transition period. So Basant and all spring season, the Baisakhi, they are also just somewhere. Yes. There are two issues. We have rightly pointed it out. One, I forgot to mention what is. One is that change in the timing, and second is the volume. We say that this much of volume rainfall has happened, right? But the volume has also changed. The volume has also changed. And say today we have very heavy downpour. So we do not need all water in a day. You grow a crop that needs some water at the growing season, at the mature time, and at the later stage. It is same like कि हम एक दिन खाना खा लें 4 दिन का तो नहीं चलेगा ना, थोड़ा थोड़ा चाहिए as per need. The farmer, they need water as per दोनों time, different times पे कितना पानी चाहिए और किस तरह चाहिए. Very good crops, and then sudden rain, untimely rain is all washed away, it's gone. And that impact a lot on economy. So you do not look at how much rain has taken place, but important is that what is the temporal framework, at what time rain has taken place and how much. ये वैसे ही जब हम इकोनॉमिक्स की बात कर रहे हैं कि 6.2%, 6.4% इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ है, बहुत अच्छा नहीं. कहाँ से आया है, किस सेक्टर से आया है, और उस सेक्टर में कितने लोग इन्वॉल्व हैं, कितने लोग इम्पैक्ट कर रहा है, कितने लोग बेनिफिट कर रहा है. दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. एंड देयर द इशू कम्स इन स्पेशियो टेम्पोरल एस्पेक्ट, राइट. दूसरा देखिए साहब, लैंडस्लाइड का पिक्चर, नेट पिक्चर. हमने घर बना लिया फ्रेजाइल एरिया में, लैंडस्लाइड होगा, ऑब्वियसली विल बी इंपैक्टेड. We do not look into the terrain. We do have understanding, but we do that. We still do that. हमारे एक उस्ताद थे, हैं अभी भी, टचवुड, तो वो कहते हैं कि साहब, अतीक, we have not, हम नेचर ने हमको नुकसान नहीं पहुंचा, हमने नेचर के पास गए, ऐसी जगह जाए जो हमें उसका नुकसान पहुंचा रहा है. How? We have encroached on, we have gone in the areas, the habitat which is not meant for the human habitation. हम उनके एरिया में इंक्रोच किया हमने, और वो इम्पैक्ट करेगा. See the Europe and America, wildfires. Rich people, they have gone, नेचर के करीब, समुद्र के करीब, ओशन के करीब, वहां रहना शुरू कर. दैट इज नॉट आवर हैबिटेशन. ये हमारा नहीं है, दूसरे जो है, जो नेचर के प्रजाति हैं, वो जो एनिमल्स हैं, उनके लिए है. So once we reach there, we get impacted. You talk about Yamuna, 12 kilometer Yamuna stretch crosses from north to south. दिल्ली को क्रॉस करते हुए नीचे जाता है. एक तरफ से ईस्टर्न उत्तर प्रदेश ईस्टर्न पार्ट ऑफ यमुना से इनक्रोच कर रहे हैं, और इधर से पुश कौन कर रहे हैं, दिल्ली के लोग. वी आर गोइंग इन द फ्लड प्लेन्स. और जब फ्लड आएगा कहेगा साहब इतना नुकसान हो गया, सरकार क्या कर रही है, मकान तो हम बना रहे हैं ना, हम क्यों गलत काम किया हमने, जो ना नेचुरल रिवर बेड है उस पर हमने इनक्रोच क्यों किया. दैट इज वेरी फ्रजाइल. और आज देखिए, जो इफ यू टॉक द पीपल, जो 40 साल पहले, 50 साल पहले, वी आर एट द बैंक ऑफ यमुना, यहाँ पे बहुत कम वो था बिल्ट अप सेटलमेंट. बट इफ यू गो टू कॉलोनी, कुछ बने जा रहे हैं. So it is not done, natural calamity. It is calamity that has been made, that has been created by the humans for our own need and greed and need. That is important issue. So आप देखिए सारी चीजें impact हो रहे हैं. Now this fatal landslide in Himalayas in 2024. हिमालय में देखिए landslides, ये सारे landslides हैं. Red patches shows the severe landslide, yellow patches and green patches दूसरे industry show कर blue patches. And we all know that this is a belt. This is Himalayan belt. That is, Himalayan belt is, one of the youngest mountain, belt. But this is stable, quite stable. But we are encroaching and we are disturbing the entire, state of affairs. Human migration. Maybe in 10 minutes I'll move fast so that we can finish on time. Human migration. People have moved throughout the history for many reasons. ये हम जानते हैं और हमेशा मूवमेंट रहा है one reason or other. There are four forces that led to movement. One is conflict and um, persecution. Second is natural hazard events. Third is cascading disaster and many other reasons. People choose to migrate temporarily or permanently. And in the current scenario, what we have, most of the migration across the world is, when you talk about the climate change induced migration, it is less, but political and conflict and wars is more. What we see in the Middle East, what we see in America, deportation by illegal people, yes, illegal people should go out. लेकिन वो हमारे यहाँ बांग्लादेशी बहुत आते हैं, नेपाली बहुत आते हैं, उनके यहाँ कुछ काम नहीं, हमारे यहाँ आ जाते हैं. तो मोस्ट ऑफ द माइग्रेशन यूज्ड टू बी इकोनॉमिक रीजन होता ना, अब चीजें थोड़ा सा चेंज हो रही हैं. दे शुड बी फोर्स आउट, उनको निकाल के बाहर करना चाहिए. इन परसूट ऑफ बेटर इकोनॉमिक कंडीशन, व्हाट आई वाज टॉकिंग अबाउट, इन अदर केसेस गवर्नमेंट हैव pursued policies and program promoting movement of the population relocating from high hazard exposed area to lesser hazard area. हिंदुस्तान में इतना it's not very it's not possible, but in this part of the world it is possible that government do take care of कि भाई आप hazardous area में ना जाओ, यहाँ तो हम जाके बना लेते हैं, then we get impacted. There is a big issue. Human mobility, vulnerability and capacity is a complex interplay. In तीनों चीज है इस big interplay, mobility, vulnerability and capacity. Human mobility is age-old phenomena driven by numerous factors. That is search for better economics due to changing policies, combination of both natural hazards and environmental degradation. It is a complex interplay between social, political, economic, cultural, and environmental factors. This has been added new. Earlier it was social, political, and economic. Culture is one. If you see this one, this figure, what we have, many factors influencing human mobility. Vulnerability, capacity, where the social, political, economic, culture is a complex interplay of all these factors. It is not just one. It is a complex factor which talks about the human mobility. Countries with high internal sudden onset disaster displacement number in 2016 and then climate change vulnerability readiness score. This is a score gain index that is Notre Dame Global Adoption Initiative, which ranges from 0 to 100. Higher the value, more the vulnerability. See this one, Philippines, India, with a very high vulnerability to climate change. 50, 46, 50. Indonesia 50, India is 46, and then if you come to Colombia 56, and 2016 climate-related displacement. These are the numbers. This is the data for IDMC database 2017 and Cheng 2015. So that clearly shows that it is happening now, it is taking place, and that is a big issue. See this one, 10 largest displacement event in 2016 were climate related. As per IDMC database 2017, in India, 1,670,000 people were displaced because of flood in Bihar. Then you see other parts of Philippines, this much of people moved, displaced because of typhoon. You talk about China, Yangtze River, Typhoon Hama, and many more. So if we go on this site, you will find the state of affairs, the displacement due to climate related across the world, whatever interests you. Now, opportunities and challenges of human mobility, new economic activities, poverty reduction, increased wages, these are the opportunities. And if you go on the right side, what we have, disrupted social network, labor exploitation, access to critical services. These are the challenges and these are the opportunities. So in India, if I say the migration and movement of the people, we teach you study in the population geography that people from the rural areas move to the not urban area, move to rural areas to a bigger rural areas, and from that bigger rural areas to small towns, and from small towns to bigger towns, and from bigger towns to further bigger towns like metropolitan cities like Delhi, Mumbai, Calcutta. And then from there we move to Gulf countries. And from Gulf countries, we further move people, a large section of people move to westward. And that we call is step migration. That is step migration. It's not that people, see, there are two types of migration, economic reason जो हमारा हम पढ़ते थे. One is, जिसके पास कोई नौकरी नहीं है. चलो जी, ईस्ट वाले बम्बई जाते हैं, साउथ के लोग चेन्नई जाएंगे, कुछ वेस्ट वाले बॉम्बे जाएंगे, और इधर नॉर्थ वाले दिल्ली आएंगे, कुछ कलकत्ता जाएंगे. और कुछ लोग होते हैं फॉर बेटर गेन. दिल्ली में हम काम करते हैं, if I'm an executive in multinational company, I get 4 lakhs of rupees. Let us go to Dubai. वहाँ 15 लाख वेतन का है. We move. And then from there, for better quality of life या attraction, we go to further westward. तो ये सारी चीजें, that is opportunities. It's not bad, it's good, but when we are talking about migration, displacement, economic, now urbanization rapidly increasing. I showed you statistics today and today also कि urbanization state of urbanization North America में क्या है, Asia में क्या है. In Asia it is faster. No, cities show that human mobility and climate are sustainable development issues. Human mobility and climate directly affect the sustainable development of cities. Human mobility and climate, what is it affects? It affects the sustainable development in cities. Better urban planning is a key to produce climate risk. Cities must invest in reducing the vulnerability to those who move. If you see this one, 13% of the urban population live less than 10 meters above sea level. There is another issue. There is another big issue that is coming up at a fast rate. What we are doing, global concern. Maybe I'll escape. There are a lot of discussion worldwide that has taken place. Say refugee convention, HIGO framework in action. Then we have global migration group, working group, human rights 2012. Then we have the Paris Agreement we talk about. Then global impact on migration 2018. No, many more. This is the four quadrant. One is the climate change drivers. You can see energy sector, industrial production, agriculture practices. Right side you see the climate effect changes, what all changes taking place. We have showed the statistics in data, accelerating characteristics, shrinking, what I showed, Arctic and Antarctic sea level rise, ocean acidification. Then we have the third quadrant is climate change mitigation. We need to have a mitigation capacity. We need to increase the mitigation capacity of the region, of the country. That is very important. Clean and renewable energy, carbon capture, storage, carbon pricing, many more. Sustainable agriculture, afforestation, green infrastructure, right? On the right side, what we have, adaptation. Water harvesting, improving irrigation efficiency, restoring degraded ecosystem, afforestation, air forestry, adaptation, crop diversification, building seawater. So now I'll sum up this slide, all 4 slides in one sentence in a way that what we have to do, we need to mitigate, we do mitigation activities and act less as compared to we add more to the drivers of climate change. That is a side part of it. Maybe in a couple of minutes I'll try to finish it up. India's perspective on climate change. What India is doing. The government of India is very concerned since last so many decades. What we have, India focuses on balancing economic growth with environmental sustainability. This is very important statement. Acknowledging climate changes as a serious threat to threats while emphasizing the need of developing nation to achieve their developmental goals. We need to achieve our developmental goals. We need to provide the goods and services, but we need to balance economic growth with environmental sustainability, and that is a very crucial aspect of it. How to balance? How to balance? भूख भी लगी है और खाना भी खाना चाहते हैं और इतना खा लेते हैं कि साहब फिर वो नुकसान करने लगता है. You get lot of आज हमारे, if you see the data, I do not know exactly if I give the weak idea, कि जो ओबेसिटी इज अ मेजर प्रॉब्लम रादर देन हंगर. जो कम खाने से ज्यादा लोग नहीं मर रहे हैं, मर किससे ज्यादा लोग रहे हैं, डेथ ज्यादा हो रही है वो ज्यादा खाने से, ज्यादा खाने से. What we have, India has a pledge to reach net zero emission by 2070. 2070 is far away. We can achieve only by 2070 net zero emission अगर जो हम जो प्लान बनाए, जो पॉलिसी बनाए गवर्नमेंट ने, उस पर चले तो, अदरवाइज नहीं अचीव करेंगे. जब हम पढ़ते थे तो कहते थे हेल्थ फॉर ऑल बाय 2000, हेल्थ फॉर ऑल बाय 2000. अभी हम 2020 में, we have not achieved. We have achieved a lot in health sector, but still there are miles to go. So we need to work on net zero emission that has been, and set ambitious target for renewable energy capacity and emission reduction. Key aspect of India's approach: balancing growth with sustainability. The first line what I have. Then India prioritized rapid economic growth as a means to improve living standard, adapt to climate change impact. Second is focus on renewable energy. India is rapidly expanding its renewable energy capacity, aiming for 500 gigawatts from non-fossil fuel sources by 2030, and seeking to meet 50% of energy needs on renewable energy by 2030. That is very important. Less of the countries, very less countries are trying to do this and focusing on this. It's not that they are not doing, but India is one of the leading country. We should acknowledge the effort of the government of India, of different ministries, be it climate change or petroleum ministry or whatever. What they are doing, focusing on renewable energy. Emission intensity reduction, that India has pledged to reduce greenhouse gas emission intensity by 40% by 2030 compared to 2005 level. So these are the issue. What I wanted to say is that I also put more focus on India's and Indian regions. In the same way, we need to be concerned on our Indian scenario. Addressing climate finance, that's another important issue. Climate finance, from where the money will come. So climate finance, India has established a national adaptation fund and is working on mobilizing climate finance to support its mitigation and adoption effort. What we have, decoupling economic growth with emission. You need to separate it out. Hello? Economic growth with emission. India has demonstrated capacity to decouple its economic growth from emission, showcasing the potential for sustainable development. Emphasis on technology and innovation, clean technology, coal washing, reduce emission from the power sector and all. And if you see Delhi NCR, there were a couple of big power sector that has been closed. One was Badarpur, one was Indraprastha State that has been closed. And with that, lot of emission that has been reduced. So, and different state is also doing different, important work, public awareness and action. I feel that this is most important. And the sad part of it is that I say, with heavy heart, that we all know, we are aware, but still we do not do that. That is a very sad part of it. We all know it's very sad to do such activity, but we do that. There are people who do not know. तो अवेयरनेस उनको चाहिए, लेकिन जो अवेयर है ऑलरेडी फिर भी नहीं कर रहे, तो उनका क्या इलाज है? Isn't it? That is one of the important issue. Recognizing climate change as a fundamental right, India's Supreme Court has recognized right to be free from adverse impact of climate change and as a fundamental right which can influence the future climate legislation. नवंबर दिसंबर में देखते हैं एनसीआर में लॉट ऑफ सांस लेना मुश्किल हो जाता है. सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने बहुत कहा है, गवर्नमेंट ने बहुत डायरेक्शन दिया है. स्टेट गवर्नमेंट ऑफ हरियाणा, पंजाब हैज गिवन वेरी स्ट्रिक्ट गाइडलाइन, पनिशमेंट, बट किसान मानने को तैयार नहीं. अगेन इकोनॉमिक्स कम्स इनटू पिक्चर कि जल्दी से इसको फील्ड को तैयार कर लो और जल्दी से ग्रो कर दो ताकि हम क्रॉप को ग्रो कर पाए. मतलब देर नहीं, कोई बहुत जल्दी फास्ट मोड में जो 1 महीने में अर्न करना वो 10 दिन में अर्न कर लो. एंड इफ यू टॉक अबाउट फाइनेंस की बात करें, हम बैंक की बात करें, तो बैंक एक इंटरेस्ट देता है 5%, 4%, 5.5%, 7% भी फिक्स एफडी पे. हम क्या करते हैं, बहुत सारे लोग, दैट इज वेरी सैड, कि हम किसी ऐसे इन्वेस्टमेंट में डाल देते हैं जो कहता है कि साहब हम 50% देंगे रिटर्न. कोई इकोनॉमिक्स नहीं कहता 50% रिटर्न देना इफ यू आर डूइंग ऑनेस्ट बिजनेस. लेकिन फिर भी बहुत सारे लोग वी गो एंड बिकॉज दैट यू लॉस. द सेम इज ट्रू हियर कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट कहता है कि साहब आप जो है इसको फंडामेंटल राइट है, लेकिन फंडामेंटल राइट एलेक्स वाज सेइंग कि हमारे लिए हम अच्छे से सोएं, आप उसका पोल्यूशन एमिशन हीट एसी का आप बर्दाश्त करो, आई डोंट केयर, है ना. कोर्ट ने ही रोका कि साहब आप जो जनरेटर्स हैं डीजल जनरेटर्स बंद हो गए, नहीं चलेंगे. तो फिर आए हमारे पास स्मोक फ्री एंड नॉइज फ्री है ना. अब जनरेटर बड़े बड़े जनरेटर चलते नहीं पता चलता, अदरवाइज एक जनरेटर चलता तो पूरे मोहल्ला रात को उठ के बैठ जाएगा. लाइट गई, आप यू हैव मनी जनरेटर, आपने डंडी घुमाई एंड देन जनरेटर चला, यू गॉट बिजली, और बाकी सब लोग सो रहे हैं, दे उठ के बैठ गए. एल्डरली दो और सिक, वो परेशान हो गए. बच्चे जो पढ़ना चाह रहे हैं, बच्चे जो सो रहे हैं, उठ के बैठ गए, सो स्कूल जाना है, बट वी डू नॉट केयर फॉर दैट, isn't it? So that is very serious issue one need to understand, you know. तो ये जो मैं कह रहा था पब्लिक अवेयरनेस की बात कर रहे हैं, सस्टेनेबल लाइफ स्टाइल एंड सस्टेनेबल कंजम्पशन. सस्टेनेबल लाइफ स्टाइल, हमें लग्जरी लाइफ स्टाइल चाहिए, है ना. अक्सर हम लोग जाते हैं कभी कलीग के साथ, गर्मी बहुत है, एसी चलाओ. मैंने कहा भाई बाहर नेचुरल एसी का हवा लो ना थोड़ा सा. नहीं साहब पसीना बहुत आ रहा है. कमान, इतनी गाड़ियां हैं जो मैंने दिखाया दिल्ली में, एंड दैट इमिट्स फॉसिल फ्यूल तो बढ़ नहीं कर रहे, सारी गाड़ी एसी. पहले बहुत एक गाड़ी में एसी होना एक लग्जरी हुआ करती थी, अब सारी छोटी गाड़ी हो बड़ी गाड़ी हो, एवरी कार हैज एयर कंडीशन, एसी नॉन एसी. एसी कार होना एक लग्जरी बहुत बड़ी बात मानी जाती है. दे आर एडिंग टू इट. And I said yesterday, technology is a real enemy to climate change. Technology is good for the for developmental activities, अच्छी चीजों के लिए. But again there is big but. वो टेक्नोलॉजी दिया, एयर कंडीशन कार में लगा दिया, हर जगह लगा दिया, फिर आप देखिए कूलर में अब नींद नहीं आती, पंखे में नींद नहीं आती. इवन इफ यू हैव अ कंफर्टेबल वेदर बट स्टिल यू प्ले एयर कंडीशन. International cooperation. India's actively participate in international forums and collaboration to address climate change, advocating for a just and equitable transition. That is another very important issue that India, makes. Traditionally, India has have been highly vulnerable to climate-related events like floods, drought, cyclone, many more. Many public-funded programs are there to address the direct impact of prevention and control. In addition to these main objectives of major poverty reduction, rural development program, reduction in vulnerability, climate risk, India has spent about 13.35 lakhs crore, that is 13.35 trillion in just over 5.5% of its GDP on climate. That is very good. That is very good. So that shows clearly that India as a whole, the government is much concerned. One of the leading country which is more concerned about climate change as compared to the other countries across the world. There are different countries, they are feel concerned much more than others, but India is one of the leading countries which feel concerned. Probably this is the last slide. Annual central government expenditure to address climate change variability in 1997 to 98, it was 2%, little less than 2% of total expenditure what the government spent, but it has gone little up. See this one, expenditure on adoption of GDP, and this is expenditure on adoption of as a percent of total government expenditure. This has gone higher, it is close to 12. So that gives a very big hope, good hope to combat the climate change when we talk about Indian perspective. Thank you so much. We have some maybe we have some discussions, some observations, some comments, questions from audience, please. Yes, please.
Sir, I have some observations basically. So I'm not sure if I'm allowed to take a minute. I'll take a minute. So thank you so much for this intellectually stimulating presentation, sir. I want to bring it to the knowledge of this audience here that sir was invited in a lecture. It was a online lecture in an international seminar back in 2022 to Aligarh Muslim University. It was on the occasion of Earth Day in April 2022. There were international experts on the panel, and Sir was the Indian expert. And I want to bring it to the knowledge that obviously you have seen Sir's style of delivery of lecture. After the Sir's lecture was over, throughout the lecture there was pin drop silence, and here the cohort is usually scientists from different PhD institutes, right? There in the university, it was a very heterogeneous audience. There were undergraduate students from arts, social science, and different theology and all faculties. The delivery style was so amazing that they could actually connect without having read a single research paper about what climate change is all about. So, and there was, sir, huge appreciation for you after you had, done your lecture. So my observations are a little bit, as I spoke the other day about per capita energy consumption. So the more focus should be on carbon footprint, as we talk about average American and an average Indian. The per capita energy consumption or carbon footprint is much higher for an average American as per Indian. But the gross, carbon emissions are more for India because we are we are most populous country. And the second observation, sir, is it's this has more to do with technology also today. As today we have YouTubers who are just promoting shopping halls and excessive consumerism. So austerity in consumption behavior is changing in terms of India. That's the downside of a technology if we don't take care of it. The second observation was about urban climate change and rural climate change, sir. In urban climate change, we all know what was the reason, but I was reading some article back in some days back where they were saying that rural climate change, there's also the disaster repercussions are seen in the rural areas as well. So is it directly linked to the domino effect of the urban climate change by and large, or is it just the rural?
Thank you for important observation, Ghazal. Kulsum, sorry. See, when you talk about the last point what you made, the effect on rural areas is impacted by the urbanization, and rural areas I see and say that rural areas are not the rural areas as of now. They are much more urbanized. You know, if you go to rural areas, you'll find many economic activities, many consumption pattern has slightly gone up. So rural areas are also fast urbanizing. You know, urbanizing in terms of consumption, in terms of expenditure, and so on and so. So that could be one that is being added apart from urbanization impact on effect on that. So these are the issue. And second issue, what you said, carbon footprint. Obviously, when you talk about the China and India, obviously the footprint is high. You know? But what we have, the consumption is higher in the West world. The footprint is also very high there. But India, because of the population, larger population, you know, if we talk about, see, when you talk about a statistic, it will be different, and when you see the reality, it will be different. You know, again, I say the economic growth, very high, very good economic growth, one of the fastest growing economy, but the C standard of life, the standard of living, you know, that is quite low. And we only talk about consumption in terms of food and many more things, but we do not. We should also look into the aspect of consumption of the health sector or education sector. You know, how much we consume, how much services we are having that is available. Yesterday we were a discussion that after 40 kilometers we have one hospital. So that is also one important aspect that one need to understand. Thank you. Yes, please.
Thanks so much, sir. So I have an observation, not a question. So in that climate finance slide that you have mentioned it, so like the private companies and corporate sector, they have a kind of they have to make a report on ESG, environmental sustainability governance. So SEBI has mandated like 1,000 companies whose turnover turn 100 crores or something. There's a kind of a financial limit is there. So they have to make ESG report. That is a mandatory. So that is a part of the climate finance, and they have to invest in the climate adaptation activities and all that. So in crux, in nutshell, that I would say that ESG or CSR is also doing the part of climate change and all those things. Not education, other things are also there. So, in a nutshell, private sector corporate houses are also doing work in the field of climate change as I am pursuing the sustainability management. So, that's it.
Uh, rightly said that the corporate sector is contributing. I missed it because of time, and I could not put the slide in statistics on that. I feel that those who all are producing, they should also look into their adaptation and mitigation measures. It's not that a corporate sector is big sector. Service sector is tertiary, quaternary sector is big sector. So obviously, government has rightly made it. You have to take responsibility. Otherwise, nothing doing. No? There's no free doing any business and do whatever as per your wishes. That's very important. Yes, please. The last question, if you want, somebody else. Yes, please. Last point. We are running short of.
Thank you, sir, for your concise lecture. My question is, I'm taking an example of our neighbor China. There is a province, Yunnan province, where you can see a clear example of both city and an agrarian life going hand in hand. So, how can we implement how they do to our Indian economy? Because it is an agrarian one. Like without affecting nature, the infrastructure is also growing and they are also having their own agrarian economy also.
See, what all we see and the statistics and presentation that has been done in last 2 days, what we see that the population migration, climate induced migration. So issue is that we act and react in a way that it should uh, hamper the natural cycle, mainly the rain, water. So once you get the sufficient amount of water at your farmland, you'll engage yourself with there. Number one, and if you do not get sufficient rain, and you do not have money to get irrigation from paying some money, so obviously you look for some other option. So you'll move. This is one. Second issue is that okay, when we talk about uh, uh, people move, because if we talk about India and other less developed countries, they move to the bigger another area for attraction. एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट एनर्जी. गांव में बिजली नहीं आती है तो लोग सोचते हैं कि शहर में चलो. सो व्हाट वी हैव द कॉन्सेप्ट वी ऑल नो दैट प्रोवाइडिंग इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर अर्बन इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर इन रूरल एरियाज. So if you do that, and government is started thinking, and I'm sure that they are doing, they do that, they provide some infrastructure in a way that what they get it in the urban area, so they will not move. So though two issues that has to be managed. One is they should get the number one, they do not want to leave the agriculture, but they are forced to leave the agriculture because of climate change and lesser availability of water. Either take water and then they move. And so second is the government should provide something to them so that they should not move. Very common saying is that a person want to be in their own house with the family and the elderly mother and father, even if they are earning less. Say they are earning 10,000, they wish to be with their family. You know, if he is getting an opportunity to earn 15,000 in another place in urban area, he say no, I do not want to be there. I'm happy with lesser money with my family, with my own township. So if we do that, then that balance can be maintained. What the China and other parts of the world are doing, right? So yeah, quick. We are.
Sir, it is a very eye-opening session. So I'll take one slide from yours, sir. So I'm a victim of the slide which you have shown the Western Ghats, the town of Kunur. It is my hometown. So I'm belonging to that region. So I would like to share few points. I'm not going to take too much time. There's a break. So which is not current development. So during the British colonial period, it was being developed. The first thing is it has contribution towards to the World War as well. Second World War, Madras Regiment as still it is there, and I have mapped. It is part of my PhD study area region. So almost 80% of the area is forest covered. So now it has been changed into tea cultivation. So due to that, there is a landslide water scarcity problem, everything it is happening in this small area. And this is an isolated town, so which is connected with the road network. So during my college days, during the heavy rainfall and landslide, this was the isolated. There is no transportation facilities, so it was stuck with a lot of difficulties. So another important thing is the recent administration has taken effort of to conserve the natural resources and the plastic. It is the first district in southern India, so to ban the plastics. It is they have been made the check posts and they will check all their vehicles. Been remove the water bottles, all plastic kind of things. This kind of government initiation also has been implemented. And one more point is it is there is no provision for construction of more than 2 or 3 storage building. It is banned. And groundwater extraction, no borewells has been allowed in these regions. So this was the collective of informations which you can understand from this small region. So I was studying a lot in this. So rest of the free time you can discuss, we share a lot of things. Thank you for the opportunity.
Very important ground reality you told, because you are from that place. So with this, we close this session. We have exceeded say 20 minutes from this first session. Alex, foreign expert, is sitting waiting. We have a short break, maybe for 10 minutes, and we made arrangement for the tea here only because of the heavy rain outside. We are not in a position to go guest house. We'll have a break for the tea, short break. Maybe you can have biscuit and all, and come back with the tea and sit here, enjoy tea and listen the lecture of Alex. Thank you so much.